Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. So, as most of you know, I just released my new album, Remember You're Dreaming, and the new album book, Remember You're Dreaming. And this work really wouldn't be possible without the creative input and contribution of so many beautiful people. And so, I felt inspired. I got this idea a little while ago that I wanted to interview the people that have worked on this album. And so for this first interview that I did, I spoke with Mike Love. Mike Love is just an amazing singer, and I'm so honored to have him on the album. He's on the title track, Remember You're Dreaming.
Don't worry about the future, the past. This moment is all that you have. I know you remember.
You're dreaming. Oh, remember you're dreaming.
Yeah, I know you remember.
You're dreaming. Oh, remember you're dreaming. Yeah.
And next to the fact that Mike Love is clearly an amazing singer, and I'm just so happy to have him on the album, he is also just an amazing, beautiful, loving, good person, and he has lots of pearls of wisdom. So I hope you enjoy this video and this talk that I had with him. And if you do, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe. I hope you enjoy. Much love. Well, Mike, welcome, big, warm welcome. This is actually the first time we're meeting.
Mahalo.
We have a song together and we have never
Yeah.
spoken to each other. I mean, that's
Right. We've had a lot of communication via, email and text and stuff like that, but we've never actually and of course we've connected through music. So I feel like, that's a better way to get to know each other than anything. So I feel like even it's kind of funny because I feel like even though we haven't spoken like this or met face to face, like we have a pretty good idea of each other's energy and vibe.
for sure. I feel the same way, but I gotta say that today I was listening to a few of your podcasts, and like you said, like we already connected through the music, and I'm a sensitive person, so I was feeling your energy and everything already. And but as I was listening to you speak, like there was a whole other part, like my heart opened up so much, and I was even more happy that you're on the album, because I also learned today, just listening to different podcasts of you, what a beautiful soul you are, and the way you speak and the wisdom that you share. So I was just so excited to hear that, and I would love to, I have a few questions for you also to just dive in deeper and for people to get to know you better. Just so honored to have you on my album, really.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor. Like I said, when I got the song, I'd never heard of your music before, and usually I really only do like a feature like that for friends. I've really never done one before for anybody that I didn't know, that I wasn't already related to and friends with. So I think that to me speaks to how much I really did love the song and was moved by it, because normally I just wouldn't even really consider working with somebody that I didn't really know. So I felt like, from the moment I heard it, and it was really my manager Mel who, my management usually fields all that stuff, and she was like, yeah, you should give this one a listen, it's really cool. And so I'm really happy to be on it, and I really love the way that it turned out. Like more than most like features I've done, I've gone back and listened to it a bunch, and I really I love listening to it. It makes me feel really warm inside.
Me too. I love it so much, and I'm getting great feedback from everyone as well. And I will share a little bit about how the song came to be and how I found you. So I wrote the song already a few years ago, actually, when I was working on my first album. And right now I'm still doing everything, by myself, or I say by myself. I feel like, there's this inner guidance that I always follow, and just really trying to step back and really tune in and listen with every decision that has to be made. Where am I to go? Who am I to work with? But on my first album, that was all very new for me, and I still had this sense of, I need to do it, like being the doer and being in the front seat. And I notice now that whenever I try to control things, like things don't really work out so well. So I remember, especially, I'm still learning that, but especially with my first album, there was just so much stress, and especially around money and how am I going to be able to pay for, the studio costs and for this and for that. And I remember there was this one day where I was just so overwhelmed, and I was feeling just so stressed out. And there was this part of my mind that was like, okay, let's just binge watch TV and, stay inside and eat food all day and, like really deny this, like just shut off and go in. But there was like a bigger part that was like, no, let me just go outside. Let me take a little walk. And there was this beautiful neighborhood garden, and I was like, let me go and grab a tea over there, so I walked over there, and I got a fresh mint tea, and I sat down, and like really as soon as I sat down, there was a whole classroom of kids just storming into the garden, and they had some sort of school project, and they started playing and running through the garden, and I was just watching them, how they were laughing and playing. And they sort of like reminded me of like that inner child, of like, okay, like, you don't have to stress and worry so much. And I know this also from your podcast, you can share about that later, how songs really come to us, right? Like how we're just like these vessels for songs. Like I always say as well, like I'm not a songwriter. I can just listen very well to like when a song sort of like knocks on my door, and I'm open to receive it. And I had that feeling again of like, oh, there's a song coming, and I heard this voice in my mind literally saying like, take a deep breath, sit down, my child. Why are your thoughts running so wild?
Take a deep breath, sit down, my child. Why are your thoughts running so wild? Don't you know who walks beside you? Yeah. Don't you know that only love is true?
And I grabbed the receipt, the paper, the only paper that I had, and I started writing on the receipt of the cup of tea. And when I came home, I put the chords underneath of it, and instantly I knew it was a reggae song. And I never, like, I only wrote 2 reggae songs in my entire life. The first one, I was 17, and it was about HIV and AIDS, and it got me touring all over Africa, over Kenya. And now this one, like more than 10 years later. So I don't know why it came through as a reggae song, but I just knew like it had that reggae vibe. I think just that happy vibe of like, remember you dreaming, it's all like, don't take it too serious, and remember to smile, remember to laugh. And when I was working on this album, I knew like, okay, I want to have a feature for this one because I'm not a reggae artist, and I was really looking for someone to give it some extra sauce. And I was really listening to different artists, and I really wanted somebody that not only that I loved, their voice, but also what they stand for, and that they have that same, purpose of making music that I have. And I never heard of you either. But I was at a friend's house, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Spotify started playing, I think on her phone. And it was a different artist. I can't remember who it was, but I liked it. And I was like, maybe that's something. And I went back home and I listened to the artist, and I was still like, it's not entirely what I'm looking for. But then I underneath it said artists like him, you know, and then I saw you underneath of that, it said Mike Love. And I was like, you know, Mike Love, that sounds amazing. You know, I need to check out whoever like Mike Love, like your name really sort of like took me. And as soon as I listened to one of your first songs, my heart was just like, oh my God, this is him. Like, this is it. Like, I just felt it. This is the guy for this song. It was instantly clear. The search was over. And I was just so excited when you, you know, when you accepted, and also like just you helping out. Maybe you can share a bit even of how you guided me back to using that original line that I'm now so happy that, you know, because
yeah.
that's in there, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. Yeah, right. Because like I had no idea of the origin of the song. You know, I mean, this is kind of the first time hearing. I read a little bit, you know, when you posted about it a little bit, but you know, to hear the full origin of the song and to hear that line was really like the foundation of the song is really interesting, because when you first sent it to me, you know, the vocal, the original vocal that you had done, it was a little more like raw, but I really loved it. You know, it had like this this energy to it, and this tone to it that I just loved. You know, and then I did my parts and I sent them to you, and then you sent me back a mix, and you had redone your entire vocal. And I was like, huh, you know, it's like the vocal sounds more like studio and polished and everything, but like it's missing what I felt from the original vocal. And you had changed that first line too, the line that you spoke of, you know, and you had changed it to a different lyric. I can't remember. It was something about like when the road is hard or something like that. And you changed it from like, you know,
and
kind of slow down child, and
road seems too rough and it all seems too much. I changed it because I have to tell this in the middle, because when I heard your part, it was just so amazing that I got so self-conscious about my part. I was like, oh my God, and I got so much in my head. And then, you know, even though those lyrics came to me, like they were so soothing for me, like that, hearing that, take a deep breath, sit down, my child, you know, it felt so soothing. But as I was busy, I started worrying about like what other people are thinking, you know, that's like a big lesson for me of like, you know, what are people thinking about me and the judgments of people and everything. And I was fearing that people would interpret it as me telling them like very condescending, you know, like take a deep breath, my child, you know, and I thought I have to change it. But it really didn't feel good. And I was actually so happy that you gave me that feedback and that I redid it. Because when I was stressing so much, there was this point of like, do I need to keep it or change it? And I was like going back and forth. And then there was this moment of, what line would you want to hear right now as you're stressing? And like, what would soothe you most? And I felt, I want somebody to tell me, take a deep breath, my child, you know, and sit down. Like that felt so soothing to me. And then I knew like, that's the line that I have to go with. Yeah.
right. Yeah. And I feel like it, you know, it kind of lays the intention for the song to be, you know, because I mean, really, when you know, as we grow and we get older, we build up all of these like tensions and anxieties, and you know, I think about, yeah, when I was a child and I just had not a care in the world, not a responsibility, and like you know, and it's so easy to like, as a child, to like have a, you know, I don't know, something happens, your favorite toy breaks or or something like that, and you just have like a meltdown, like it's the end of the world, and you're so upset, but then 5 minutes later it's like you've completely let go of it and like and moved on. And as we grow and we get older, it's like the system that we live in teaches us and conditions us to not only to hold on to grief, but to not be open about it and to like just shove it all down, you know, which creates these just like crazy balls of negative energy that we store up inside. And so like a song like this makes me feel so warm, and because it is like the feeling about it I got was, you know, it is a very childlike, it has a very childlike energy, and it is like, you know, remember you're dreaming, remember this is all a dream, you know, it's like we're going to go through this life, you know, and everything that we learn and grow from in this life is going to travel with us to you know, on our next journey, and it will be just a dream that we've learned from, you know, and it is just really all a dream, and it's all you know, really an illusion of our manifestations, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. So your verse, I'm gonna ask you in a little bit to just share an acapella of your part of your verse, and you just jammed it up. Like I'll, you know, like in the end, I'll share the official song because it's just so awesome. But can you share a little bit about your inspiration for that verse and what it all means for you?
Yeah, for me, like I a lot of my growth has come from are you still there? I think I might have lost you,
My video is
or maybe I just lost your video.
yeah.
Okay, all right, sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I think for me, a lot of my experience, like I don't think you don't have children, right? You're not a mother yet.
No, my boyfriend has 4, and so for me it's enough.
Okay.
I know you have 4.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right. I do have 4. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, for me that's been a huge part of my evolution as a person, as a spirit, um and so I like, for me, when I think about all the childlike energy in this song, I not only think of myself as a child, but I also think of myself as a father. So I kind of like I kind of took that element, and you know, and I'm like, you know, I'm getting older, and 3 of my kids are already out of the house, and I have a 10-year-old son who's still, you know, at home with us. And so it's like, you know, and and I'm at this place where he's, you know, he's going to be 11 in a couple months, and all of my kids have kind of gone, you know, they grow, and like when they're young, they just like, I mean, obviously when they're a baby, they rely on you for every single thing, and then they get to be a little bit more independent and a little bit more independent and a little bit more independent, you know, and then they start to really develop their personalities, and they become like so interesting and just so amazing to, like, they start developing their own ideas about things, and it's so fun, and you're still like the center of their universe, and they bounce everything off of you. And then they get to be about like 12 or 13, and they really start like discovering what like the world is like for themselves without you a little bit, and they start going and doing things like without me with their friends instead, and it becomes more, you know, and then they get to be, you know, real teenagers, and then they rarely spend any time with me, you know, and then now I'm experiencing, you know, them as adults, and they come back a little bit more, you know, and it's just like there's so many phases of it, and I've been through that with 3 kids, and you know, my 4th son is like coming up on that time now, where you know, probably in a couple of years, you know, I'm not going to be like his just like right now it's just like I'm his number one playmate, you know, like he does everything with me. I'm the first person he wants to hang out with, you know, and like I know there's going to come a time where that's going to change, and it's like it's it's one of the hardest things to deal with as a parent, because you just want to hang on to every moment and like keep them from getting any older, but you can't, and you have to like grow and let go. And I'm just realizing that with him, you know, we're not having any more kids, so it's going to be my last this is like it, you know, this is my last, it's the last few years of an era of my life. So I think I was thinking about that a lot, you know, and I was thinking about, you know, and writing, I'll pick you up when you fall, I'll remember to call, but one day you'll grow tall, and you'll have to stall till I catch up. And it's like you know, it's just like these phases, and you grow old, and then, you know, eventually your kids are like going, you know, come, you were once upon a time going, come on, keep up, and now they're going, come on, dad, keep up, you know. And I do that with my dad, you know, and I try and like inspire him to keep up with me, and you know, and it's just, yeah, it's all life, and it's all, you know, I guess it's just really a song about that for me, for about like, you know, growing as a child and a dad.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I have one question before I want you to sing your verse. Because I like your whole energy is also still so like vibrant. And so you still have that sort of like childlike playfulness. And what do you feel like, are there certain practices, or what do you do to connect with that inner child and to stay in touch with that inner child, that I can really feel it, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously music is a huge part of that for me. Music has always been very playful. And, you know, I love to play games. You know, I love to just, you know, goof off and be artistic and laugh a lot and joke a lot, you know, and like you said, with, you know, with getting, you know, feeling the anxiety of making an album and like putting all your money into it, and not, you know, that financial anxiety, you know, like it's never going to get better. Like you know, I think I've made maybe a few more albums than you, and you know, it's like, even though every time I make an album I have more money than the last, it's like you just end up spending more money because your vision grows bigger, and you want to take care of the people that you work with more, you know. And that's just how it is, you know, and that's how it's always going to be. So you have to develop tools to deal with that. And there's, you know, and it's crazy because, you know, I got to a point a few years ago where I was like I was doing what you're doing now, which is just like running everything, running the entire business myself. And, you know, it didn't seem like it was I couldn't imagine the weight that was actually on top of me, because it had just steadily grown over years and years and years. And I'd been taking care of everything. And it's just like, it got to a point where, you know, it was like, I was doing so much and taking care of so much of the business aspect that music just got to be hard to do, you know. And I was playing a lot of shows and making a lot of music, but like writing music is really the important thing for us, you know, because it's how musicians process everything. And I think for me, you know, like you said, the songs don't come from you, they come through you. So when you're making yourself open to writing something, it's like filtered through you. So it's a message from whatever you want to call it, from God, from Jah, from your higher self, from the universe, or whatever you want to call it. But it's a message for you. And when you take that message and you filter it through, you know, it becomes it's so, I feel like if you do it that way, I was writing music before I figured out how to do it that way. And then when I did figure out and made that connection and just made myself open to it rather than to try and like force something to come from inside of me,
Yeah.
it changed, you know, and I started like getting these songs that were really powerful for me, and I was feeling them. So I wanted to play and share them. And then when I shared that music, a different thing happened than it ever happened before. Than when I'd been playing music, a different thing happened, and I felt a real true connection with people that I share the music with. And then I realized, you know, when you make a song that's like totally pure and honest, and you just let it come rather than like trying to, you know, wrap your head around, you know, what you should say or what people want to hear, then it's just something that's pure and honest that can be so universally interpreted, right? And so people will take a song that you wrote about your wife or something and apply it to their relationship with their dying grandmother or something like that, and it'll really like just be, you know, you'll be singing words that were something completely different for you, and it'll just be like the exact words that they need to hear for their situation, you know. And yeah, I think that for me is the heart of how I process and deal with things is through music and writing music. But of course, you know, meditation is key, exercise is key. I'm on a long fast right now. Fasting really helps me to like detox and reset. And like, you know, I have, like when you said, you know, you got all the anxiety and you wanted to go inside and watch TV and eat a bunch of junk food, it's like that really resonates with me, because that's exactly what I do. And I deal with anxiety and depression like with eating and things like that. And so, you know, behaviors that, you know, are really self-destructive, but for some reason when you're, you know, depressed and you're like really self-loathing, it's like somehow they feel good. Somehow it feels good to like punish yourself or something. I've never really quite understood why I do it. And I recognize those traits, but yeah, it's, you know, I'll get into these bad habits. So doing something like a fast, like I'm on now, it's a really great reset. And it really, you know, it reminds me that I have the power to have discipline and control over my own actions, and I have the power to take care of myself and my health, which is more important than ever, you know, or we're just under assault by, you know, a million things in the world that we live in, you know, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in terms of our health, in terms of our food, in terms of the water that we drink and the air we breathe. We're just, you know, under a physical assault. And I think we have to do everything we can right now to take care of ourselves, strengthen our immunity, strengthen our spiritual immunity as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, you're talking about fasting. I'm reminded also of this there's a beautiful Rumi poem. I forgot how it goes exactly, but it's about the Ramadan, I think, and he shares there, you know, how the fasting, you know, is this practice also of becoming empty to receive God, or however you want to call it, right? To become this empty vessel, to actually be open to receive messages, be open to receive music or whatever it is, inspiration. And that when we're so full with, you know, food, with thoughts, with social media, with things to do, and then because I believe, you know, it's not something like only some special people can hear these messages or can hear these songs. Like I really feel that, you know, it's everywhere around us, right? And inspiration and guidance and songs, they're just waiting for like an empty vessel to, you know, be interpreted or be heard. But if we're constantly so busy and we're so right? So full, like there's no room for that inspiration to be heard. So I think that's a very important thing, because people ask me so
Hmm.
many times, like how do you hear that inner voice, and how do you hear that guidance? I think a big practice to hear it is to become actually quiet, to become silent. And indeed, you can do that through meditation or through fasting or through whatever. It can be through exercise, maybe even. It can, I think anything in form can be used. And there's nothing like this secret recipe of you have to do this or you have to do that. It can be different for anybody. But it is something I think that anybody can learn, to hear that inner voice and to channel that in whatever creative way that feels inspiring. Would you agree, or what is your take on that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. And I totally believe that, and part of uh, a message that I try to share, one of the messages that I try to share the most is just as you say, it's it's open for anyone, and no one is more special or more gifted than anyone else. It's just a matter of how, you know how open can you go. Are you willing to take the steps to manifest your dreams, take the steps to manifest your purpose. I feel like one of the greatest things about this life is every single one, you're never going to meet two people that are the same, and everybody is so multidimensional and so different, and you can meet somebody that you just have so much in common with, and you feel like they're your soulmate, but at the same time you're still so completely different. And it's just amazing. It's amazing that there's billions and billions of people on this planet, and not a single one is anything alike. And so when you take that diversity and you see people that are following their dreams, I think, what's the difference between me and somebody that is working at the bank or something like that, and they just have resigned themselves to working at the bank and making a living and paying their bills and paying their mortgage or whatever, going through life in kind of the prescribed way that the system lays out for us. And I think the difference between me and them is I just discovered maybe earlier in my life what my gift, what my purpose, what my reason was for being here, and I never let go of it, and I never stopped persevering to make that dream a reality. And I think it's really important to remind people constantly that even if they are in that place, even if they're 65 years old and they're still working in that bank job that they've been working for the last 45 years of their life, it's not too late, and it's never too late to shift gears and to manifest and realize their purpose. And I think it just takes, all it takes is work and resolve and intention, and if you have no idea, if you feel like, well, like it's easy for you guys, you just knew you wanted to play music, and you're really good at it, so you just got to do it. And it's like, yeah, I do feel like my path was really 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 laid out for me, but I also feel like I took a lot of chances, and I put in a whole ton of work, probably a lot more work than it took to get a degree to become a bank manager or something like that, So I think it just, it takes work, and you have to be willing to do the work, to sit down, to say, I have no idea. I have no idea what my higher purpose is here. What is it? I'm going to sit down with myself, make everything quiet, sit in meditation, and just ask, what am I here to do? What is it? And you might not hear anything for a day. You might not hear anything for a week. You might not hear anything for a year. But if you sit down and ask that question every day, and you make the time and you put the intention into it, you will figure it out. I guarantee it. And you'll start, and that purpose will start to unfold, and you'll start to realize what you're here to do, what it is that you want to do, what you have to share, and how you can share it. And then you just start working at it, and you put your energy into it. And it doesn't have to like happen overnight. It doesn't have to happen in 10 years even. It can be something that you're just slowly working on. But like, it's important to take time every day to put into that and to manifest it. Because if you don't, it's just gonna sit there and, you know, it's not going to evolve, and it's not going to grow, and it's not going to manifest.
It reminds me of one of my favorite books that I think I first read it when I was 15. You'll probably know it. It's called The Alchemist. Do you know that book?
Of course, yeah. Uh-huh.
I love that book, and it talks about that, you know, that we all have this purpose. This, I think he calls it our, like, you have to follow your own legend or make your own legend come true, and it says that we have that sort of purpose. It's in our heart, it's in our soul, and once we accept it, it's like the whole universe conspires to, you know, make that come true. And I think that's what synchronicity is also about, right? Where you just, I feel like when you really surrender yourself to the higher, the spirit, or whatever you want to call it, and basically just say, okay, it's my purpose to just serve. Like, I just want to be of service to, you know, the awakening, to help remember that we're dreaming, you know, help be like wake up from this crazy dream we call life. And how can I show up for that? Like, how can I be of service, whether it is through music or whether it is through being a banker, you know, that could be also a great service. Maybe that person is there and just reminding everyone that it's not about money, but that it's about love, you know, whatever it could also be. But the moment that we hand over all of our desires and all of our like our own plan, that's what I always feel like, my plan, you know, because I think the ego always has its own plan for happiness, and that there's always this higher purpose, this higher plan, and that once we hand ourselves over to that, then these beautiful synchronicities start to happen. You'll meet people in the weirdest places, and you'll just start to feel this inspiration bubbling up inside of you, and as if, you know, you're being done through, instead of like trying to make everything happen and trying to hustle, and, you know, then it becomes more in a flow. At least that's what I experienced, that the more I actually stop trying to meddle, you know, with the higher plan, the more things flow, and the more things are, yeah, that I can sit back and enjoy the show, even though it can still be really hard work, but it feels that everything flows a lot better when I don't really try to sit in the front seat, you know, but rather be like, okay, love, you take the wheel, and I'm open, you know, show me where to go, show me who to work with, even. Like, that's how we're right now talking, because of that attitude, because we didn't know each other, right? It's because of that stepping back and, okay, show me. I don't know, but you know, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. Yeah, once you're aligned with your path and your purpose, things do fall into place, you know. And it's and you know, I feel like when you're a very spiritual person, it's really easy to accept that, and to follow that. And you know, a lot of people aren't really in touch with that, and I'm kind of like in the middle, you know, like I'm skeptical of a lot of things, and like you know, I've always, it's been a lot of work for me to be able to like to be very sensitive to energies, and just feel things that I can't see. And you know, I think it's you know, everybody's different, and you have to learn your own way of interpreting. But yeah, you know, it is really about faith and following signs and sometimes going, yeah, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but like I feel like it's right. And when I think about it, I think, I don't know if I should do it. But if I like stop thinking and I just feel, it feels like, yeah, that's what I should do. And sometimes you have to just like push aside your doubt and push aside your anxiety and just go for it. And I've found 100% in my life when I've done that, it's been, my greatest successes.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Okay, I would love for you to share your verse. It's a little bit different now because of Zoom. I know the guitar is not coming through so well through Zoom, so you agreed to share a little bit a cappella, which I know is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And if people are listening,
well, I'll do my best.
you can listen to the original version everywhere, Spotify, iTunes, it's everywhere. We even have a video out. Also, I'll put all the links in the description for the people that are watching this right now. But yeah, take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, I had so much fun doing the song with you, and thanks for talking. Yeah. All right. Remember you're dreaming. Yeah. Remember you're dreaming. Whoa. Remember you're a part of it all. When you started to crawl, you had intention. And did I mention that this tension is only a dream? Life is not all, and it seems there's magic dancing in between in this dimension. I'll pick you up when you fall. I'll remember to call. But what do you grow tall and you'll have to stall till I catch up, but we'll patch up the cracks. Don't worry about the future, the past. This moment is all that you have. I know you remember. Oh yeah. All right.
I love it. Love it. I so love your voice. Thank you so much. One last question before we round it off. I'm curious if, because this whole song, it's kind of about like that inner child and this sort of, this inner voice or like a father figure, really comforting. And I'm just curious, like if you could go back to yourself, like as a kid or as a teenager, like what would you say to yourself? Like what would be the message that you feel like, oh, if only I knew that when I was a kid or as a teenager? What would you tell yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a hard question because, I feel like if I was to go back and share some wisdom with myself as a youth, I think, well, for one thing, I don't think I would listen. But for another thing, I just think, I wouldn't want to alter the timeline of everything that I've experienced because, I love who I am and I love where I am, and everything that I am is every experience that I've had, and every time I've fallen and scraped my knee, it's taught me to to be to be a little stronger, or to be a little more steady, or and every mistake that I've made has helped me grow, and all of the worst stuff that I've been through have been my greatest blessings and have taught me the most. So I don't think I would really want to tell myself anything. I think I would just like to go and observe from the distance.
That's so beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mike. It was just so great to talk with you. I feel like we know each other already for so long. It's kind of weird that this seems to be the first time. But who knows? Maybe in other lives we already have music. We already made some music together, or who knows? But it was
Yeah.
great with you.
Well, I can't wait. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to sorry. Yeah, it's great talking to you too. And I can't wait to to the chance we get to get together and perform Remember You're Dreaming live and, share
Yeah,
it together. It'll be great.
I'll come to Hawaii. When you're there, just arrange some performances, and I'll be there. I don't mind.
Sounds good. I'm gonna be there next month.
Love it.
Book your ticket. I'll be there in February.
Just before we go, if you have anything you like to share, like where can we find you? What are new projects you have coming up? What people need to look out for? And I'll put everything in the description, but you can let us know.
Sure. Yeah. My website is mikelovemusic.com. And I have a lot of stuff on my YouTube channel. You could just search me up on my YouTube. And the last thing that I put out was a while ago. I put out a live album with my band, but I have a new song coming out on January 21st, which is really exciting. It's a project that I've been working on. There's a band called Groundation, which is one of my all-time favorite bands. They're my favorite live band. Really, really like very inspiring band to me as I was coming up playing music. And they're the first band that I toured with when I left Hawaii and went on my first like big tour in the mainland. And I was supporting them and got to be friends with them. And they kind of went through a lot, and they split up, and they formed some of the original members formed a new band called Rising Tide. And I did a bunch of work with them on their new album, and we're releasing a 4-song EP called Together. And the first track is called Together. That's releasing on January 21st. So over the next few months, we're going to be releasing that EP. So I'm really excited for that. I'm coming close to the end of my big album that I've been working on for the last couple of years or so. It's a really huge project. I haven't announced the title or anything of it yet, but it's 25 songs that I recorded, a lot of really long songs. It's going to be like released in multiple volumes. So it's a lot of music I got coming out soon, and I'm just working really hard to get it all wrapped up. But yeah, next thing is January 21st, Together with Rising Tide.
Oh, love it, love it. Thank you so much. I'll put everything in the description for people to check out. And again, thank you so much. Thank you for being on the album. And let's remember
Awesome.
Dreaming.
Thank you.
Much love. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's great talking to you.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this talk that we had. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe. And our song, Remember You Dreaming, featuring Mike Love, is available everywhere. Put a link in the description. And of course, if you would like to get the album with the album book, the link is in the description as well. It's just this beautiful, beautiful creation filled with art from people all over the world. Mystical poetry by people like Hafez and Rumi, Muji, Yogananda. There's art from people literally all over the world. There's empty pages so you can write your own lyrics, your own poetry. It's really my baby, and I feel it just goes hand in hand with the music. So yeah, I love to offer that to you. And finally, to watch the music video that I made with Mike Love of the song Remember You're Dreaming, you can go ahead and click over here.
Yeah, yeah. Remember you.